Good morning. Today we're going to beef up the interior of the cabin a bit by building a nice solid desk out of construction lumber. Let's get right into it. So, I'm fully 100% back to living in this cabin. I just moved out of the rental yesterday. It was becoming a bit of a crutch where it was very comfortable to live there. I really enjoyed living there. It was really hindering my progress here because I could go there at night, and this became more like a project cabin more than my actual home, which it is. This is my actual home, and I need to start treating it like it. Since I'm back, I really want to address some things that have really been bothering me. I am absolutely a man of projects. I'm always finding new things to do. I'm either painting or making stuff. So I want a big desk, and I definitely need somewhere to store my clothes. And I have problems with both of those things. Let me show you.
This desk is an absolute travesty. It sucks in every conceivable way. It is made of like corkboard. It's just garbage. It has this one drawer and no others. As you can see, not exactly the most stable thing in the world. I really hate this thing. I do not like it, and I want to get rid of it as soon as possible. And in its place, I want a big, solid desk with a lot of space to work and to store stuff.
The second problem, this actually is pretty great as far as storage space goes, but I'm keeping all my clothes in this right now. And this is not very convenient to get to, and honestly there's a lot of better solutions to storing clothes than putting them inside of a suitcase and putting them under the sink. I'd like to have a nice small-ish dresser to keep all this stuff in. I don't have many clothes, I don't need many clothes. 2 drawers would probably do it.
Now, I could just buy a new desk and a new dresser, but guess what the problem with that is? I'm sure you can figure it out. I have no money, but I've devised a way around that. There's a place where I get most of my tools and supplies. It's very close by, so it's kind of the only place I go. It has furniture, horrifically expensive furniture, but I can go take a look at that furniture, take a tape measure with me, and a pencil, and a paper, and reverse engineer whatever I want, 100%, and then just buy the lumber to build it much cheaper. And I think that's what I'm gonna do today, because we have a couple days of this nice cloudy weather before it starts getting brutally hot and horrible again, so I think that's a good use of my time. So let's go get that done. All right, I'm up top at the hardware store. I'm gonna try and be pretty quiet because I don't know how they're gonna react to me, I think, pirating furniture. So let me show you some of these prices so you can understand why I can't afford this stuff and why you can't afford this stuff. Nobody buys anything here. This normal looking table on sale for $1,850. This little island thing on sale for $900. Sorry, $1,000. A very average dresser, $710. And it only gets worse from there, so I am gonna go find something that I like and take the dimensions. As far as desks go, this is about what I want, so I'm gonna get this one. The whole process of taking the dimensions was pretty straightforward, and it only took about 20 minutes or so. Granted, I changed measurements as I saw fit, but having a template right in front of me was a huge help.
I've done a lot of tight fits since I've been hauling lumber in a car. This is probably the tightest so far. I'm going to drive very slow going home.
I was pretty apprehensive about getting started once I had my lumber. To get the joints I wanted, I would need to take the rounded edges off the sides of the boards. And with the tools I have, it would have taken a lot of time, effort, and opportunity to screw things up. Luckily, a neighbor of mine was willing to let me use some of his tools, which was greatly appreciated. I have no idea how this all would have come together without a table saw to flatten out those edges, and a chop saw to get those clean 90-degree cuts. Once I had all my lumber cut and ready to go, I got it back home and started figuring out logistics.
Okay, we have cut all of the lumber we're gonna need for the walls and surface of the desk. Those 3 boards are gonna make up the top, and these are gonna make up the rest. These are 24 inches long, these are 19. Those are 30 and those are 56. I'm not exactly sure how wide they are. They're about 11¼ inch originally, but I had to use the table saw to take off the rounded edges and get this nice flat side that we really want. So what now? Now I have to drill holes in all these sides, and I have a dowel piece that I'm going to cut into little pieces, and each of these sides, let me demonstrate a little bit. Get one like this, drill the holes where they need to be, and then stack another one on top like that, glue them together, and that will make up a good portion of one of the walls of the desk.
A lot more of this project than I initially thought ended up just being waiting around for things to dry. So while the desktop was setting, I got to work on cutting the legs. I ended up cutting them just a bit longer than that of the original desk. For all of its faults, the height is about what I wanted, so it didn't take too much tweaking. After that, it was on to prepping them for staining, and since I want to do a lot more like this in the future, I picked up a power sander to move the process along a bit faster, which worked like a charm. With the legs prepped and ready to go, it was time to start staining everything, so I switched back over to the desktop to start. I should mention now that while this was going on, the other boards that make up the frame of the desk were doweled, glued, and drying. I just didn't get any footage of them. I figured that putting together the top of the desk would give a good enough idea of the process, and since those ones weren't going to get stained, it didn't really seem like they needed to get filmed here. So, just enjoy some relaxing footage of satisfying staining. With the top finished, I moved on to the legs. I ended up putting 2 coats on them instead of the 3 I did for the desktop. It just seemed kind of like overkill for something that wasn't going to have food and drink on it, so I figured any more than 2 would drag out the process while essentially adding nothing. When the stain on everything had dried, I got to work putting dowels in the ends of the legs that'll connect upwards into the desktop. And when that was done, I was on to the real last challenge of the build. These pieces are going to make up the central mass of the desk and house the drawers when those are finished. I figured I've got about as much wood texture in the cabin as I need, so I decided to tone these down a bit by giving these pieces a nice matte black paint job. But that wasn't the issue with this part of the process. The issue was just that putting them together while keeping everything straight, level, and not bent inward or outward was going to be a bit of a problem. I settled on this drying method as it applied good pressure on all the pieces, and that seemed to work like a charm. So with that done, I was on to final assembly.
Well, this is a huge, huge improvement. I mean, there's a lot I could have done better with this build that unfortunately I just didn't have the time to do because I wanted to get a video out sometime close to when I usually post. That's the reason we don't have drawers in here yet, is because I simply did not have enough time and I wanted to get this out and not have another 2-week break in between videos. I will definitely get them done soon. I am definitely going to put some drawers in there, probably 3, I'm thinking. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it, do some segments in there so that you can compartmentalize everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. Overall, I'm quite happy with the desk. I think this desk is going to serve me really well for a very long time, until I eventually have the money, the skills, and the tools to make a newer and better one. Thank you all so much for watching. I've really enjoyed making this video. I will see you all next week. I'm going to do my absolute best to be here on Sunday. So, I'm Mick, and until next time, stay warm out there. Have a good day.